So guys, it's always weird when something happens that is completely outside of your control or anything you could have imagining happening. And then you realize, oh, it's something that can literally change your business from day to day. Thank you guys so much for listening to the Down in Business podcast. I'm hopping right in today. Xander Kirby. My name's Alexander. Going by Xander now these days. Just go with me on that. But hey, one of the coolest stories of the last year, in my opinion, is Mr. Elon Musk, our Einstein, has decided to buy Twitter for $44 billion. That's billion with a B. And that makes Twitter go from a shareholder, publicly traded company to a privately owned one. And he's going to be paying shareholders $54.20 per share. That's overvalued. Nothing's going to happen till October. It's not going to close until that time. But it's just crazy to think that, Twitter's been pretty known to be pretty left-wing, liberal, things that they don't agree with, they block. And Elon had an issue with that. If you guys don't know who Elon Musk is, you've been under a rock, but he is the creator and founder of Tesla, I think he's the primary shareholder. Not sure. It's also publicly traded, but considered pretty much the wealthiest man in the world, smartest man in the world. He's got a lot of titles. He's not the best family man in the world. He's had a lot of failed marriages and stuff like that, but very fascinating human being. And just, man, when you listen to him talk, you realize how smart he is. But buying Twitter, like just a straight power move. And his big thing, he just cannot stand what he deems as free speech being limited. And so today in this episode, we want to talk about, how does this affect or can it affect your business moving forward? I kind of want to talk about it on a macro level, meaning that not necessarily just how does Twitter affect your business, but how does decisions that transpire by other people and outside forces, whether it's a business closing, whether it's one of your vendors who's changed their policies, procedures, pricing, all these things outside of your control somewhat. It's crazy how often they can affect your business personally. And so let's use Twitter as the example of some of the things that you can use it for, but use as an example of pivoting and going with the ebbs and flows of business change. Like, for example, like Twitter, like if you guys, a lot of people aren't on Twitter. Like I'm 29, about to be 30 in a month. Wow. Gosh. I just realized that. Twitter was like huge when I was in high school and college. And then it took this big dip when Jack Dorsey kind of took over, their former CEO. And the reason for that is because there wasn't a great community there. You'd have to like scroll to find people. You follow a lot of people. It was just hard to kind of zero in on the voices you wanted to hear. And so they've now had Twitter Spaces, and there's a lot of community things they've been driving, which have done pretty well lately. But I have no idea how Twitter is going to affect, small business going down the line. But there is going to be a massive influx of new users on the platform. There is going to be a refreshing and excitement about Twitter. And it is one of the power 4 social media channels. So people are going to be there, and there's going to be new people. We'll talk about in a future episode once we start seeing, and I'm going to do some more research on how can we use Twitter to grow our businesses, because I think it's interesting to think about. But let's think about just the example of Twitter is the more broader discussion today. We're in a situation with some of my businesses where, we rent space, and, leases end, and then price increases come, and you've got your business might have expanded during the year. So does the space work? Various controlling factors are outside of my control, which is not normal for me because you guys know I'm a debt-free guy. If you don't know that, I'm a debt-free guy. I don't have any bosses. So the landlord is really the only person that I have to adhere to their policies. So it's a good thing. We have a great landlord, but it's very straining. It's very difficult for me to put my hat on and be like, yes, sir, no, sir, to something I'm not normally used to doing. I'm usually the one giving solutions rather than asking for them. So the same thing goes, using Twitter as the example, things are going to change in your business that weren't your fault. There's there's factors of inflation, there's factors of employees, there's factors of your vendors. A lot of us rely on subcontractors and vendors and services we hire out. For example, we've been trying to get in my landscaping business a piece of equipment. We're actually sponsored by this company, and we can't get it. And like, it's really hurting our business that we can't get it. And that's not our fault. They're behind 8 months on production, maybe even longer. And so that's affecting my net profit. That's affecting our efficiency. That's affecting our morale because the guys were really excited about getting it. And so, but guess what? That's not even my fault. And it's nothing we can do. That's just the world we live in right now with supply issues. And so I want to challenge you to think about those things that could affect your business before they do. Because the more prepared you can be mentally, financially, all these things, the better you're going to be able to withstand the waves that come and they kind of crash, on the rocks, so to speak. And that's going to be huge for you and your business. So Twitter, a lot of changes coming for that. I also wanted to chat a little bit about, just the market in general. Like I was looking today, I think I saw yesterday, that I think today the market's gone up. I'm looking at it now, but I think we had hit like a 3-year low and how much it had dipped, I believe. And there's so much, like Tesla is going, it's funny because when Elon announced that, it kind of took a big dip. Let's see what Tesla's at today. It's up pretty good in the last couple of days. It's up like 12% again. But I just want to, talk a little bit about don't put your hope in the stock market and don't put your hope in your bank account. Man, things happen. I was talking to one of our employees yesterday and they have a lot of exciting things going on. And then, car breaks down and just like takes the wind out of your sails. They have so many things they're focusing on in their transitions of life. And we just had this healthy conversation about money comes and goes. Don't let it be a crutch or don't let it be something we just need to get by this and then we're fine. Don't ever be dependent on your financial situation because, man, like things happen, cars break down, accidents occur, fees happen, bills that you didn't expect to come possibly could come. And so, is this market we're looking at here, guys. If you're not investing, I want to encourage you today to do so. And if you're looking for a great financial advisor who does nationally, he's a Christian, great guy, Ken Calcutt from Cornerstone Financial Management. You guys Google that, Ken Calcutt, Calcutt. Make sure you tell him I sent you. Great dude, can help you. He's helped tons of my friends so far. And just reminded as I'm looking at these figures on the market, like you're not defined by the red and green if it's up or down, and it shouldn't really change the way you live your life. I know some people who are retired, like they get so stressed about, is my retirement account going to dwindle? You just can't live that way. And as long as you're wise and smart, like, wow, Facebook is up, Meta is up 18% today because they finally gained some customers that they hadn't gained. 18% in one day. That is, Chris, that is crazy. Are you on the mic, Chris?
Yeah, that's 20%. You put in $100, you got $120 back tomorrow.
But a stock that is mature,
right,
as Facebook, it's not like a new one.
Yeah, you're not talking about 45 cents a share going to $1.30,
or like a brand new company, and like everyone's like guessing what the price is going to be. Like 18% in one day is crazy. Usually a big movement's like 2 to 3%.
If you want to have a really like interesting look at the stock market and like how it can be manipulated, look up the documentary Dirty Money on Netflix.
Oh, I'm watching that.
Oh, dude, it's nuts. They went on a pharmaceutical company called Valiant, and they basically just acquired a bunch of small pharmaceutical companies and didn't pay for R&D. But the only way they can make money off of that is by jacking up prices on pharmaceuticals, and so they got their butts chewed by the government.
Wow. See, it's been a weird day because, I made some money today, but it's crazy because to start the day, it was a huge dip. And it happens, but like this has been an interesting day. Like the market is going way crazy to end the day here.
Well, Tesla took a big dip because of the acquisition. Yeah. So there were some people who thought, oh, he's losing too big a chunk of his assets to buy this, and so they're worried it's going to affect Tesla. But then people were like, Tesla's not going anywhere at this point, and so they got too much government backing and too much tax credit. They're based in Texas where they have huge, tax benefits for having it there. Like they're not going anywhere. They're going to be the electric car of the future for sure at this point, unless something absolutely nuts happens, which I don't expect to happen.
No, I think Tesla's here to stay, no question. But I don't know. I had a couple conversations this week about finances and guys, I know a lot of you guys are out here listening to our podcast while you're on the lawnmower, while you're going from service call to service call, whether you're in your office or lunch break, and you're like, what does it matter about finances? Why is he talking about this? Because it matters. Because I know finances can be really a stressful. It's the leading cause of divorce is finance, and it's the leading cause of stress in general for a lot of people, because we don't want to feel like we're failing when we don't have money in the bank, so to speak, or we're not where we want to be, and we have all these dreams, and we feel like money is the thing that's stopping us from reaching those goals. But I'm just reminding you and reminding myself as we kind of wrap up this episode a little bit about what does it look like when a business outside of your control affects your business. That finances is the same way. Don't let your finances control your life. Very important to have good cash flow, have a job that pays you well, where you have ability to grow in your company and make more money over time. But you're not defined by what's in your bank account. You're not defined by what's in your retirement account. And don't let that affect your day-to-day life too much, or you'll be consumed by financial pressure. And when you're consumed by financial pressure, you melt away as a person, spiritually, emotionally, relationally. And next thing you know, you're in a really dark place that you don't want to be. A quick story before we wrap up. My wife and I, Faith, we got married. I was 23. She was 21. We were super young. We could not have rented or bought a house if someone didn't give us a house that was really nice for like $750 a month. No chance. We got married. We had $1,200 to our name. Maybe sounds like a lot to a lot of people, but we were in a pretty wealthy suburb, and we were making, I think, like $3,000 a month take home pay. And that's not a lot when you have an $800 rent and your cars and all that stuff. You had maybe $400 or $500 left over. And I remember just telling her we're not going to let what's in our bank account affect our relationship and how we have goals. I'm going to get extra jobs. Like, I knew it was a problem I needed to face. I knew it was something that I needed to create more income and make some strides, but it wasn't the thing we talked about 8 hours a day. It wasn't the thing that we made time to talk about it intentionally. And then let's move on from that. So I encourage you, business owners, if you're having a cash flow problem, if you're having some stresses on loans or anything like that, attack it head on, but don't let it consume you, because it'll take you to a place that it's really hard to reverse back from. And again, we're using Twitter as an example today of things outside of your control in your business, talking a little bit about finance with that, talking a little bit about vendor relations, and then just Twitter, like how are you going to use Twitter in the future? I can't wait to do another episode, Chris, where we talk about how Twitter might become, a great vehicle. I don't think a lot of people think of Twitter as like a way to grow your business. So
I don't know. There's a lot of opportunity, especially right now.
There will be a lot of opportunities.
Remember when TikTok came out and everybody was like, this is not a thing. And now it's one of the biggest things in the world.
You're right. So I'm looking forward to doing another episode in the future to discuss that. So guys, Xander Kirby here, Down to Business Podcast. Appreciate you guys checking in. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow wherever you're on social or YouTube. Make sure you're checking in with us. Leave us a review and tell us how much you're liking and enjoying the pod and what subjects you'd like us to talk about. And thank you. Have a great rest of your day.